The ship Aurora's dawn cut through the blackness of space as it approached the glowing blue planet called Valara. The crew of the human expedition looked out through the observation window in silence. Below them stretched endless oceans that shimmered like glass and continents covered in silver forests. For many of them, it was their first time seeing a living alien world up close. Commander Reed stood tall at the center of the deck. His uniform was pressed, his voice steady, and his eyes sharp. He had led many missions, but none like this. Behind him stood a small team of explorers, scientists, and soldiers. Among them was the youngest engineer on board, Liam. He was quiet, usually speaking only when needed, but everyone respected his skill. He had designed half of the equipment used for the journey. Still, he often kept to himself, preferring the hum of machines over long talks. As the ship descended into Valara's orbit, the crew received a signal from the surface. A soft melodic voice echoed through the speakers. It was translated automatically into human language. "Welcome, visitors from Earth. The Queen of Valara awaits your arrival." The entire crew felt the weight of those words. This was not a war meeting. It was a historic moment. Humanity had spent years trying to reach Valara peacefully. Now, after long silence between both worlds, the Valarans had agreed to meet them face to face. Liam stood near the viewing window, staring at the swirling clouds below. "Hard to believe they even exist," he whispered to himself. Dr. Halen, the team's senior scientist, smiled at him. "You'll believe it soon enough, son. Just keep your mind open. These people are older than us by thousands of years." The ship broke through the atmosphere, and the crew gasped as Valara's capital city came into view. The city glowed under a soft blue sun. Floating towers of crystal rose into the clouds. Bridges of light connected them. Everything seemed alive, as if the entire city was breathing. The landing zone was a grand courtyard made of silver stone. When Aurora's dawn touched down, the crew stepped out, their boots meeting the smooth surface. The air was light and warm, filled with a faint scent like rain. Waiting for them was a group of tall alien figures. The Valarans stood over 2 meters high, slender and graceful. Their skin shimmered faintly with shifting colors like reflections on water. Their eyes were bright with glowing rings instead of pupils. They wore long robes made of woven light that changed hues as they moved. Commander Reed raised his hand in a respectful greeting. "We come in peace from the planet Earth. I am Commander Reed, and this is my crew." The lead Valaran bowed slightly. "We know who you are, Commander. Our queen welcomes you to Valara." They were escorted through wide-open halls carved from shining crystal. The walls seemed to hum with energy. Strange symbols glowed faintly, reacting as the humans passed. Liam kept his head low, observing the architecture with fascination. Every structure seemed to pulse with a rhythm like a heartbeat. At the end of the long corridor, massive doors opened into a vast chamber. Sunlight poured in from a dome above, refracted into colorful beams by suspended crystals. At the far end of the room stood a raised platform, and upon it sat the alien queen Serana. Her presence commanded silence. She was tall even among her own people, her form wrapped in silvery fabric that rippled like water. Her hair flowed behind her in long white strands that seemed to carry faint light. Her eyes, golden and calm, studied the humans as they entered. When she rose, every Valaran in the room lowered their heads in respect. Commander Reed and his team bowed slightly in return. The queen stepped forward, her expression unreadable. "Humans," she began, her voice soft but powerful, carrying through the entire chamber. "You cross the stars to stand before us. You seek peace after a century of silence. Tell me, why should Valara trust you now?" Reed answered carefully. "Because we have learned from our past. We come not to take, but to share. Our world has grown beyond conflict. We wish to understand yours." The queen's golden eyes moved slowly across the line of humans. Her gaze was calm but piercing, as if she could see through their thoughts. Liam felt his heart race as her eyes finally reached him. For a moment, her expression froze. She tilted her head slightly, her calm face shifting into surprise. The air around her seemed to shimmer. She walked closer. Every Velaran guard watched silently as the queen descended from her platform. Her eyes stayed fixed on Liam. The rest of the crew turned their heads, confused by her sudden focus. When she stopped in front of him, the hall grew silent. Liam felt small under her gaze, unsure what to do. He swallowed and stood straight. The queen raised her hand slowly, her voice steady and clear. "He belongs to me." Her words echoed through the hall. Every sound faded. Commander Reed's hand froze mid-salute. Dr. Halen blinked, uncertain if the translator had made a mistake. Liam stood still, stunned, unsure what the Queen meant. "Your Majesty," Reed said carefully. "Perhaps there is a misunderstanding. He is one of our engineers, a member of my crew." The Queen turned her gaze to the commander. "There is no misunderstanding. This human carries the mark of the old bond." No one knew what she meant. Even her guards looked at each other with confusion. Liam's hands trembled slightly. I don't understand," he said softly. The Queen's golden eyes softened. "You would not. It has been forgotten by your kind. But the bond remains, and I can see it within you." Reed stepped forward, still trying to keep the situation under control. "Your Majesty, our mission is peaceful. We do not intend to offend your customs. If you wish to explain—" "There is nothing to explain," the Queen interrupted, her tone still calm. "He must come with me. The old bond must be restored." The guards moved slightly, forming a circle around Liam. The rest of the human team grew tense, but no one dared to act. They had been warned before departure, never show aggression on foreign soil. Liam looked at Reed, his voice quiet. "Commander, what should I do?" Reed hesitated. He wanted to protect his crew, but one wrong move could destroy any chance of peace between their worlds. Finally, he nodded slowly. "Go with her for now, Liam. Stay calm. We'll make sure you're safe." Liam nodded back, though fear tightened his chest. Two of the Queen's guards approached and gestured for him to follow. The Queen turned and began walking toward a side door, her long robe flowing like liquid light. Before she disappeared through the doorway, she looked over her shoulder at the rest of the humans. "You may remain here as guests, but he must come with me." Then the doors closed behind them. The hall remained silent for a long time after that. Commander Reed finally exhaled, rubbing his temple. "Well," he muttered, "that wasn't in the mission plan." Dr. Halen shook his head. "No, it was not. But she recognized something in him. We need to understand what." Meanwhile, Liam followed the Queen through winding halls lit by soft blue light. The palace stretched endlessly, filled with murals of stars and glowing rivers running through the walls. He could feel a strange vibration in the air, almost like the hum of energy responding to his presence. The Queen stopped before a massive crystal door that shimmered at her touch. It opened silently, revealing a chamber filled with floating symbols and spheres of light. She turned to face him. "You are frightened," she said, "but you should not be. You were chosen long before you were born." Liam took a step back, unsure what to say. "Chosen for what?" Her eyes softened again. "To awaken what was lost between our worlds. You carry the memory of the first bond, and it has called you here." Liam's mind raced. None of this made sense. He was just an engineer, a young man from Earth sent to repair machines, not to be claimed by an alien queen. But as she raised her hand, the lights in the room shifted, glowing brighter around him. The symbols in the air moved as if alive, forming patterns that pulsed with his heartbeat. For a brief moment he felt warmth spread through his body, and a faint mark appeared on his wrist, glowing the same gold as the Queen's eyes. She looked at it and smiled faintly. Yes, the bond still lives. Liam stared at the mark, speechless. Whatever was happening, he could no longer deny it. Something had connected them, something ancient and powerful that reached beyond understanding. And in that silent chamber, far from his world, he realized that his life, and perhaps the fate of two civilizations, had just changed forever. Liam sat quietly in the great crystal chamber, as the alien Queen moved around him with calm grace. The room shimmered with gentle light, filled with floating symbols that changed color whenever she spoke. The walls seemed alive, responding to her voice like an instrument. Liam's heart beat fast, but he tried to stay steady. He was an engineer, not a diplomat, and definitely not someone used to standing before a queen of another world. Queen Serana stopped in front of him. Her golden eyes studied him with deep curiosity. "You do not understand why you are here," she said softly. "But the bond between our kinds was formed long ago. You carry the echo of that promise." Liam looked down at his wrist. The faint golden mark still glowed where her touch had awakened it. It looked like a small circle made of tiny lines, almost mechanical. "You keep saying bond," he said carefully. "What does it mean?" "I'm just a man from Earth. I fix machines." The Queen smiled slightly. "So did the first one who came here. A human who helped us in our darkest time. He gave his life to save Valara. His energy merged with our world. His legacy lives in your blood, Liam frowned. That's impossible. There's no record of any human ever being here before. Serana raised her hand and the air filled with moving lights. A picture appeared, an old ship burning as it fell through the atmosphere of Valara. Your history forgets what ours remembers, she said. When this ship crashed, one of its crew survived. He repaired our dying core. Without him, Valara would have perished. Liam watched the image of a man working beside tall, glowing beings surrounded by blue fire. And you think I'm connected to him? I do not think, she said. I know. The energy he shared became part of our core. When you entered this palace, the bond recognized you. Liam tried to take in her words. He had studied many scientific theories, but this sounded beyond logic. Still, the light on his wrist was real. He could feel its faint warmth like a slow pulse. Back in the guest quarters, Commander Reed was arguing with the guards. You can't just take one of my crew members without explanation, he said firmly. The Valaran guards stood silent, their expressions calm but unyielding. Dr. Halen stepped between them, trying to keep the peace. Commander, we need to think carefully, the scientist said. If we act aggressive, this whole mission could fall apart. Reed sighed. I know, but I don't like it. The Queen has taken our youngest engineer, and we don't know why. Halen looked toward the palace corridor. We'll find out. For now, we wait. Inside the Queen's chamber, Liam followed as she led him to a balcony overlooking the glowing city. The view was breathtaking. Floating towers reflected the soft light of the twin moons, and rivers of energy ran through the streets like veins of silver. The sky shimmered with slow-moving orbs that looked like stars drifting close to the ground. Serana stood beside him. Our world lives through energy. It flows through everything, even us. Your kind once touched that energy, and the bond has never faded. Liam leaned on the crystal railing. If that's true, why wait until now to call us back? Because the bond has grown weak, she answered. The energy that protects Valara is fading. My people can no longer restore it alone. Only the bloodline of the first human can awaken it again. Liam looked at her, confused but sincere. You mean me? Yes, you are the key. He shook his head slowly. I'm not a hero. I'm just an engineer. The Queen's expression softened. That is why you are the one. The first bond was not made by a soldier or a ruler. It was made by a builder. For a moment they stood in silence, watching the floating lights drift across the sky. Then a soft chime echoed through the air. A Velaran messenger entered, kneeling before the Queen. My Queen, the Council requests an update on the visitors. Some are concerned. Serana nodded slightly. Tell them the bond has been confirmed. The human stays under my protection. The messenger bowed and left. Liam watched him go. Your people don't seem very happy about me being here. Some fear what they do not understand, she said. But others will see the truth in time. Later that night, Liam was shown to a small chamber of his own inside the palace. The room was unlike anything he had ever seen. The walls glowed softly, changing color to match his heartbeat. A floating bed of woven light adjusted its shape when he sat on it. He placed his hand over the mark on his wrist. It pulsed faintly in rhythm with the light around him. He thought about his crew. They were somewhere else in the palace, probably worrying about him. He wanted to send a message but had no device that worked here. The Valaran energy fields blocked human signals. All he could do was wait. Sleep came slowly. When he finally drifted off, strange visions filled his mind. He saw flashes of another time. A man who looked human but wore ancient armor standing beside Valarans in a burning chamber. The man reached out, touching a glowing crystal with his bare hand, light pouring from him. Liam felt the same warmth rise in his own chest. The man's voice echoed faintly, though the words were unclear. When Liam woke, his room was still dim. But the mark on his wrist was brighter. He touched it gently, and a faint hum filled the air. It felt almost like the sound of the palace breathing. Moments later, the door opened and Queen Serana entered. She looked calm, though her expression carried something deeper, concern mixed with curiosity. You saw him, she said, not asking but stating. Liam hesitated. How do you know? The bond connects memory through time. His spirit reaches through you. The first one you saw was named Aaron. He gave us life. I saw him touching something, Liam said. A crystal, maybe. Serana nodded. The core of Valara. It is our heart. And now it grows weak. The same storm that once brought your ancestor will return soon. Without renewal, our sky will burn. Liam felt the weight of her words. And you think I can fix it? I know you can. The same bond flows through you. You were not sent here by chance. Liam stood quietly. He had fixed broken engines, reactors, and machines, but never an entire planet. Yet when he looked into her golden eyes, he felt a strange calm. Then show me what I have to do. Serana smiled slightly. You have courage, young one. Follow me. She led him through a long corridor deep below the palace. The walls shifted from crystal to stone, etched with ancient markings. At the end of the path stood a massive door guarded by 2 armored Velerans. When the queen approached, the door opened by itself, revealing a great chamber filled with glowing machinery and rivers of energy. Liam stared in awe. The air hummed with power. In the center stood a towering crystal that pulsed like a beating heart. This is the core, Serana said. It holds the balance of our world. Every storm, every breeze, every light in our sky is born from here. Liam stepped closer. It's beautiful, he whispered. The queen placed her hand on the crystal. The light flickered weakly. It is dying, she said quietly. And when it dies, Valara will fall. Liam touched the surface. The mark on his wrist glowed brighter, and the light of the core responded. The queen's eyes widened. It recognizes you. Liam could feel it too. A gentle warmth spread through his body. For a moment he felt connected to the crystal, as if hearing its heartbeat. But then the light faded again. Serana sighed. The connection is incomplete. You are not yet ready. What do I need? You must learn to control the bond. It is more than energy. It is trust, unity, and sacrifice. Only then can you awaken it fully. Liam nodded. Then teach me. The queen gave a small nod in return. We will begin at dawn. As they left the chamber, shadows moved in the corners of the hall. Unseen figures watched them silently. One of them whispered into a small device. The queen protects the human. The prophecy might be real. Another replied. Then we cannot allow it. The bond must not rise again. They disappeared into the darkness. Meanwhile, Liam and Serana walked through the glowing corridors toward the upper levels. The queen spoke gently. You should rest, Liam. Tomorrow will test you. He looked at her and smiled faintly. I'll try, but something tells me I won't sleep much. The queen's golden eyes softened. Courage does not mean the absence of fear. It means moving forward despite it. When Liam returned to his chamber, he looked once more at the city outside his window. The twin moons hung low, their light reflecting off the crystal towers. Somewhere out there, danger was moving, and he did not yet know it. But deep inside, the golden mark pulsed steadily like a promise waiting to be fulfilled. And so began the journey of the bond reborn. The start of a connection that could either save 2 worlds or end them both. The morning light of Valara flowed gently through the palace walls. It was not sunlight like Earth's, but a glowing warmth that filled every hall and garden. Liam stood on the balcony, feeling the soft air move across his face. He had slept little, his mind filled with the image of the great crystal heart called the core. Its fading light haunted him. He knew he could help repair it, but he also knew he was missing something. Queen Serana entered quietly. Her robes shimmered like water in motion. You are awake early, she said with a calm smile. Liam nodded. I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about the core. It's alive in some way, isn't it? It is, she replied. It breathes energy through our world. When it weakens, all of Valara feels pain. That is why your coming is so important. Liam looked down at his wrist. The golden mark pulsed softly under his skin. You said I need to control the bond. How do I do that? Serana gestured for him to follow. Come, I will show you. They walked through the palace gardens where light crystals floated above silver flowers. The air hummed softly as they reached a circular platform surrounded by thin columns of energy. At the center was a raised sphere glowing with faint gold. This place is called the Chamber of Memory, Serana said. It connects thought to energy. Here you can learn to feel the bond. She placed her hand on the sphere. Close your eyes, Liam. Focus on the warmth inside your wrist. Let it guide your breath. Liam obeyed. He closed his eyes and breathed slowly. At first there was only silence. Then he began to sense faint whispers like echoes through time. He saw flashes of images. The old human Aaron working beside Valarans, his hands glowing with golden light. He felt their unity, their shared purpose. The same warmth spread through his chest. When he opened his eyes, the sphere glowed brighter than before. Serana stepped back, her face calm but amazed. You are learning faster than I expected. The Corps already listens to you. Liam smiled slightly. Then maybe there's hope. But far across the city, deep beneath the crystal towers, not everyone shared that hope. In the shadows of an underground chamber, a group of Velerans gathered around a dark table made of black stone. Their leader, a tall figure with markings dim to gray, spoke in a low voice. "The Queen grows weak," he said. "She trusts the human too much. The prophecy speaks of a bond that will rise again, but we know the danger. The first bond almost destroyed us. The human must be removed." Another voice answered. "The Council will not allow harm to come to him. He is under royal protection." The leader's eyes glowed faintly red. "Then we will act before the Council interferes. The storm is coming soon, and the Corps must not awaken under human hands. Prepare the shadows." They disappeared into the dark, leaving only silence. Back in the palace, the human delegation met with the Queen's advisor, a calm Valaran named Ellen. Commander Reed was growing restless. "We've been here for 3 days," he said. "The Queen has taken our engineer and given us no report. My crew needs to know what's happening." Ellen kept her voice even. "Your engineer is safe. The Queen is training him in the old ways. He carries energy we have not seen in centuries." Dr. Halen leaned forward. "You mean he has some kind of biological connection?" "Not biology," Ellen replied. "Spirit. His presence reawakens what our world has forgotten." Reed sighed. "Spirit or not, he's still one of my people. I want to see him." "I will ask the Queen," Ellen said. "But you must understand, Commander, this bond is delicate. Any interference may harm both him and us." Reed nodded reluctantly. "Fine, but I expect answers soon." Later that day, as Liam continued his training, strange vibrations spread through the palace floor. The Queen looked up sharply. "Do you feel that?" Liam paused. The air around them seemed to hum with tension. "Yes, it feels different, like something pulling away." Serana's eyes narrowed. "The shadows are moving." "The shadows?" Liam asked. "They are a faction that rejects the bond between our kinds. They believe the Corps should die rather than be touched by human hands." "Then they're coming here?" "Perhaps not yet," she said. "But we must be ready." She turned toward a glowing console near the wall. Her voice carried urgency. "I will summon the guards. You stay here. Do not leave the chamber until I return." Before Liam could answer, she was gone, her figure fading into the corridor of light. He waited for several minutes, but the hum in the air only grew louder. The sphere at the center of the room flickered, and then the lights dimmed. Suddenly the walls shimmered as 3 dark figures appeared, stepping out from thin shadows. They wore cloaks that bent the light around them. One of them raised a hand, and the doors sealed shut. Liam backed away slowly. "Who are you?" The tallest figure spoke. "We are the shadows of the Corps. You should not be here, human." "I'm not your enemy," Liam said calmly. "I came to help." "Help?" The figure's voice was cold. "Your kind brought destruction once. The bond you carry will bring it again." They moved closer. Liam felt his pulse rise. The mark on his wrist began to glow on its own. "The Queen said this bond could save your world." "The Queen is blind," the figure replied. "She forgets the cost of trusting humans. We will not allow history to repeat." Before they could move further, the floor burst with light. A barrier of golden energy flared around Liam. The shadows stepped back in surprise. The light had come from his wrist, expanding into a dome that filled the room. From the doorway, Queen Serana entered with her guards. Her voice was steady but firm. "Enough!" The shadows froze. The Queen's eyes glowed brighter than gold. "You defy your Queen in her own palace?" The leader bowed slightly. "We defy your mistake. You risk everything for a human." "You speak of risk," she said, "yet you act without understanding. The bond is our future, not our end." She lifted her hand, and a wave of energy swept through the room, forcing the shadows back. "Leave now or face exile." The figures hesitated, then vanished into thin air, leaving only faint trails of smoke. When the room calmed, Liam dropped to one knee, breathing hard. The golden barrier faded. Serana stepped toward him. "You did well. The Corps responded to your fear and protected you. It trusts you as much as I do." Liam looked up at her. "Who are they exactly?" "They are my people," she said softly, but lost to doubt. "They fear the bond because they cannot control it." She helped him to his feet. "You must be careful now. They will not stop until you are gone." "Then we should stop them first," Liam said. The Queen gave a faint smile, spoken like a true human. That night, the Council of Valara gathered to discuss what had happened. The hall was filled with shimmering light as dozens of Valaran elders debated the future. Some supported the queen, while others feared the shadow's warning. "The human's presence invites danger," one elder said. "Our peace depends on stability. If the shadows rebel, there will be chaos." "The human saved the queen from harm," another replied. "He has done nothing but help." Serana stood before them, calm and resolute. "The bond is real. The core recognizes him. If we deny this truth, Valara will perish. The storm is already forming beyond our orbit." "I can feel it," the elders murmured among themselves. One finally said, "If what you claim is true, then he must prove it. Let him face the core directly. Let him awaken it." The queen nodded slowly. "So be it. Tomorrow he will begin the final trial." When the council dispersed, Serana found Liam waiting outside. He looked uncertain but determined. "I heard what they said," he told her. "They want me to prove the bond." "Yes," she said. "You will face the core and show them the truth. But it will not be easy. The core tests both heart and spirit. You must face what lies within yourself." Liam nodded. "Then I'll do it. If this is what it takes to save your world, I'm ready." The queen studied his face for a moment. "You remind me of Aaron. He too had that same courage." She placed her hand over his wrist. The golden mark glowed warmly. "The bond lives because you believe in more than fear. Hold to that and you will not fail." As night settled over Valara, thunder rolled faintly in the distance. The skies began to darken with streaks of red lightning, the first sign of the coming storm. The shadows watched from afar, preparing for their next move. While inside the palace, Liam stood at the window, watching the lightning spread across the horizon. He did not know if he could survive what was coming, but he knew one thing with certainty: he would not run. The queen believed in him, and he would not let her or humanity down. And beyond the clouds, something vast and ancient stirred, waiting for the light of the bond to awaken once more. The sky above Valara had turned dark, filled with streaks of red lightning and thick clouds that shimmered like liquid fire. The storm that Serana had foreseen was approaching fast. The winds whipped through the palace towers, bending light around the floating crystal spires. Within the palace, tension was thick as every Valaran guard readied for the threat the shadows promised. Liam stood in the training chamber with Serana. He had spent days learning to connect with the core, feeling its pulse through his veins, and now the real test was coming. "Are you ready?" Serana asked, her golden eyes calm but serious. "I have to be," Liam said. "I can feel the core calling. It knows what's coming." Serana nodded. "Good, then let us begin." They moved together through a corridor lined with glowing symbols. Each step Liam took resonated with the faint hum of the core, like a distant heartbeat calling him forward. The palace had become a place of light and shadow, with every crystal and reflective surface catching the storm outside. As they neared the chamber of the core, an alert rang through the halls. "The shadows are attacking!" a guard shouted. The queen's expression did not change, but her steps quickened. "They will not stop until they destroy the core or take you," she said. "We must reach it first." Liam followed her, his heart pounding. The corridors stretched longer than he remembered, twisting and bending in impossible ways. Suddenly, the floor ahead collapsed, revealing a chasm of swirling energy. Liam froze. "How do we get across?" Serana extended her hand. "Trust the bond. You are part of it now." Closing his eyes, Liam focused on the warmth in his wrist. The golden mark glowed brightly, sending energy into the floor. Slowly, the energy beneath them solidified into a glowing bridge. They crossed it carefully, feeling the core's heartbeat grow stronger. When they reached the chamber, chaos awaited. Shadows of the core had arrived, cloaked in darkness, their figures bending the light around them. Their leader stepped forward, his eyes flashing red. "This ends now, human. You will not awaken the core." Liam stood tall despite the fear rising in his chest. "I won't let you harm Valara." The shadows lunged and the palace erupted in a battle of light and shadow. Valaran guards clashed with the attackers, their energy weapons glowing brightly. Liam and Serana moved toward the core, dodging blasts of dark energy. He could feel the core pulsing faster, calling him forward, urging him to act. Finally, they reached the center of the chamber. The core glowed dimly, its heartbeat slow but steady. Liam stepped forward and placed his hands on the crystal. Warmth surged through him, stronger than before. The golden mark on his wrist expanded, its light connecting to the core, flowing through the chamber like a river of energy. The shadows screamed, their attacks deflected by the radiant barrier forming around Liam. Light spread across the room, pushing the darkness back. The core responded to him, pulsing in time with his heartbeat. He could feel it, sense it, and understand it in a way he never imagined. Serana stood beside him, placing her hands on the core as well. Together they formed a bridge of energy that connected human and Velaran spirit. The shadows faltered, unable to penetrate the combined light. "You are stronger than I imagined," Serana said calmly, her voice carrying over the hum of the core. Liam focused all his attention, letting the bond flow through him. Visions of Aaron, the first human, appeared in his mind, guiding him. The energy from his ancestor surged through him, giving him strength and clarity. The core's light brightened, expanding outward until the entire chamber glowed like the sun. The shadows of the core shrieked in defeat. They tried to flee, but the golden light reached them, forcing them to retreat into the shadows of the palace. The storm outside began to calm as the core's renewed energy spread through Valara, stabilizing the atmosphere and halting the destructive lightning. Liam dropped to his knees, exhausted but alive. The core pulsed steadily, stronger than it had been for centuries. Serana placed a hand on his shoulder, her eyes proud. "You have done it, Liam. The bond is restored, and the core responds to your presence." The Queen turned to face the Valaran guards and council members who had arrived to witness the battle. "See now," she said, her voice echoing through the chamber. "The bond is real. Humanity is not our enemy. They are our partners." Commander Reed entered the chamber, running to Liam's side. "You did it," he said, his voice full of awe. "I didn't think anyone could connect to that core, let alone survive the attack." Liam smiled faintly, still catching his breath. "It wasn't just me. Serana and the bond helped. And the core, it wanted to be awakened." Reed nodded, finally understanding the importance of this young engineer. "You've proven yourself, Liam. Not just to Valara, but to all of us." Serana stepped forward and raised her hand toward the core. "From this day forward, humanity and Valara shall walk together. The bond that Aaron began will continue through Liam and through all who come after him." The light of the core expanded outward, filling every corner of the chamber and reaching through the city. It washed over the buildings, the streets, and the people, bringing warmth and stability. The storm that had threatened Valara for centuries began to dissipate. Outside the palace, the shadows of the core regrouped, defeated, but not gone. Their leader whispered to the others, "This is not over. The bond has awakened, but it will face more trials. We will be ready next time." Inside, Liam felt the mark on his wrist begin to fade slightly, returning to a soft glow. He looked at Serana. "Will it always feel like this?" "The bond is part of you now," she said. "It will guide you when Valara needs it, and it will grow stronger as you learn to trust it." The Queen's gaze softened as she looked at him. "You have done more than awaken the core. You have earned the trust of my people. And as I said before, you belong to me, not as a possession but as the bridge between our worlds." Liam blinked, the weight of her words sinking in. He had started as a quiet engineer, unsure of his place, and now he stood at the center of a renewed alliance between two civilizations. He could feel the bond deep within him, a connection that linked not just energy but trust and purpose. Commander Reed approached, placing a hand on Liam's shoulder. "I think it's time your crew understands the full story," he said. "You've not only saved Valara, but also shown that humanity is capable of greatness beyond our own world." Dr. Halen nodded in agreement. "The core recognizes what we sometimes forget, that courage and knowledge together can achieve the impossible." Serana smiled faintly. "And tomorrow, Liam, you will begin teaching others how to maintain the bond. The core's energy must flow freely, and your guidance will ensure it remains strong for generations." Liam took a deep breath, looking around the chamber. The light of the core reflected in the crystal walls, bathing everything in gold. He felt a sense of peace he had never known before. Despite the battle, the danger, and the uncertainty of what was to come, he knew he had found his purpose. As the palace settled into quiet once more, Liam glanced out at the city below. The storm had passed, and the floating towers shimmered under the calm sky. He could see Valarans emerging from their homes, walking the streets with cautious hope. The bond had not only restored the core but also given the people a reason to believe in the future. Serana stood beside him, her presence steady and reassuring. "This victory is only the beginning," she said. The shadows will return, and other trials will test the bond. But today, you have proven that courage, knowledge, and unity can overcome even the greatest darkness. Liam nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility and the strength of the bond. He placed a hand over his wrist, feeling the gentle pulse of the core's energy. It was a reminder that he was no longer just a human engineer. He was part of something greater, a living symbol of hope and unity between two worlds. Outside, the first rays of Valara's twin suns broke through the clouds, casting light on the city and the palace. The streets shimmered as the people emerged, witnessing the calm after the storm. The bond had awakened, the core was safe, and the young human who had once felt small now stood at the center of a new era for Valara. For Liam, the journey was far from over. The shadows of the core still waited in the dark. The Council of Valara had more decisions to make, and the bond itself would demand more from him in the days to come. Yet in that moment he allowed himself to feel the quiet triumph of what had been accomplished. He was no longer just a visitor on Valara. He was its guardian, its bridge to humanity, and a symbol of the possibilities when two worlds chose trust over fear.